At number 3, it's the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. And here's what I love. I love their physicality. If you just watch Notre Dame, doesn't matter who they're playing, they're probably going to win the toughness battle. These guys run and hit better than just about anybody in the entire country. It starts up front with their offensive line. Those guys are the tone setters. And if you think about last year, they lost 3 starters over the course of the season. 3 starters, and yet at season's end, that offensive line was mowing their way to the national championship game. Didn't have any drop-off when those 3 guys go out. And assuming Charles Jagusaw can get back as soon as possible, he hurt his arm a couple weeks ago on an ATV accident, this should be at least, at worst, a top 2, top 3 group in the FBS along the offensive line. All 3 of their running backs run outrageously hard. I mean, they run. Jeremiah Love hits the hole as hard as anybody in the sport. You look at what they also have in Jadarian Price and how he can kind of take some of the load off Jeremiah Love and get to the open field and make guys feel it as well when they try to initiate contact. I love how hard they run. That's a physical group of backs that you got to love. Even their wide receivers will get in there and mix it up. You watch Jaden Greathouse block, he'll get after you. He will absolutely get after you. And then on the defensive side of the ball, it's a team that had to endure a ridiculous amount of injuries last year, and yet even at season's end, it was one of the best groups in college football. They now bring back Boubacar Traore. You had the advancement of Tuli Alamaka. You got Josh Burnham, who's back and playing at a high level. Jalen Sneed's got great athleticism sideline to sideline. I think he's poised for a huge year. Drake Bowen, Jaden Osbury. Like, they are really, really good in the front 7 defensively. And then you have a new addition at nickel. And if you Notre Dame fans are not aware of who Devontae Smith is, you're going to love this addition. This dude is a heat-seeking missile. And while in coverage, he's not the guy that you want to go press coverage against Jeremiah Smith. That's not really who he is. But you want to talk about a guy that'll blitz, a guy that'll kind of hold down the middle and hold down that nickel spot, that slot corner. He is a great addition that they made this offseason. So I think they're in a really good spot from the physicality standpoint. Every single team they play on their schedule, they will be up to the task to match them and possibly exceed them from a physicality standpoint. Here's what concerns me. Losing their defensive coordinator. Look, Al Golden, he takes the defensive coordinator job at the Cincinnati Bengals. He deserves it. He did a ridiculously good job the last couple of years. In comes Chris Ash. And I think people will hear this and they'll think this is some indictment on Chris Ash. No, it's not. It's far from an indictment on what he might become as the new DC of the Irish. But this is more of a tip of the cap to what Al Golden was. We would sit in meetings with Al Golden last year and preparing for calling, a handful of Notre Dame games. Felt like we did all of them there, especially down the stretch. And we got to know Coach Golden really well. And he would sit there and say, all right, here's how this game is going to go. Here's how we win it. This is exactly what we have to do to win. If we don't do this, we have no shot because this is what they're going to do to us, and we need to be prepared to combat what the offense is going to attack us with. And then we'd be sitting there in the booth, and it's like, that's exactly what Al Golden told us was what was going to happen. It was almost like he knew what the offense was going to run before the offense would actually run their plays. He knew the style of game that it would take for them to win, and he played those cards beautifully. Now, Chris Ash, if you look at bona fides, really strong track record, right? He's been the OC or the DC at Ohio State. He's been the DC at Wisconsin. He's been the DC at Arkansas. He's been a head coach in the Big Ten when he was at Rutgers there for 4 years. He's got NFL experience, has been with the Jacksonville Jaguars the last few years, has been there for 4 years. So I think that experience with personnel evaluation, that experience with player development, all that could be majorly beneficial. And if you look at Al Golden had NFL tenure prior to becoming the head coach of the defense there for Marcus Freeman. So I can see that there are some parallels between Chris Ash's track record and Al Golden's track record. Another thing that I think was massive is they were able to retain some of their best position coaches as well, including Mike Mickens there as the defensive backs coach. And a reminder that regardless of who's calling the plays defensively, Marcus Freeman is still the head coach. Like, Marcus Freeman is still going to be very involved in making sure the culture from one coordinator to the next doesn't change. The expectation level on that side of the ball doesn't change. But if you look at what Al Golden was able to do in game, dialing up the perfect play at the perfect time to defend the perfectly called offensive play, that's something that does concern me. So Chris Ash, will he have the same understanding of how they match up week to week, that's a question mark. I'm optimistic, but it is right now my biggest concern heading into the year for the Notre Dame Fighting Irish.